Compañeros, amigos, otra vez vamos a reiniciar. Espero que las pequeñas incidencias del café hayan estado solventadas, que hayáis estado, ese mini desayuno sea correcto. I believe the coffee was finally enough, and it's time to work. The first one, Fernando, could you the previous slide? Just to say, the building have Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi is Congreso, and the password is Congreso 2425, but Congreso, the first C, is with capital. Okay, you can check if you want to use the building Wi-Fi. Okay. It's one of the most interesting moments is to introduce one of the best experts in why not Europe, but at the same time one of the best friends. And it's for me an honor to stay here saying some words about you. Åge Vigane from Stavanger University. Vale. Åge Vigane desde la Universidad Noruega de Stavanger es un buen colaborador de la universidad, un muy buen amigo y un profesional en el tema del Friluftsliv como pocos. Pionero junto con otros noruegos en algo que ellos tienen muy bien definido, que es el Friluftsliv. Para nosotros es un poco aún ajeno, pero que en sí marca un modelo que yo creo que es bueno a seguir desde países europeos como el nuestro. Están 100% focalizados en temas de educación y después, más allá de las técnicas y los deportes y las habilidades que practican, de vida al aire libre, que sería la traducción, lo más importante, y es lo que yo quizá he aprendido nuestro grupo de investigación con esta colaboración, es los valores. Esa palabra que siempre llevan clavada de honestidad en la naturaleza para los jóvenes que educas, para la gente con la que estás. Entonces yo me quedaría con esta palabra para introducir a Åge Vigane. Es la honestidad con la que trabajan y sobre todo cómo aportan a su sociedad. Por eso algunas cosas estaría bien que copiáramos. Welcome, Åge. This is your presentation. Norwegian Friluftsliv Outdoor Life, a way to educate in nature. Thank you and always in your heart.
Thank you, Victor. I can't I understood everything, but I heard my name. That's something. It's a pleasure to be here. So thanks a lot for inviting me. We have been here since I think 2018 or something. So that's when everything started. Friluftsliv is a Norwegian term, and maybe I need to spend some time to explain the content of Friluftsliv. Directly translated, it means free, air, living. So it's about freedom, it's about living in nature or spending time in nature. So it means embracing more than just being active, like climbing and biking and skiing. It's including that as well. But it's more than that. It's a way of life, somebody will say. It's about spending time in nature. So maybe you can say it's more being than doing. So just remember that. It's about being in the moment, and you don't need to be active at all. And that term started 150 years ago with a worldwide famous poet called Henrik Ibsen. He was a hiker, so he was hiking a lot in the Norwegian mountains. And one day after a long hike, he was sitting in front of the campfire and he was reflecting back, and he felt the freedom of being in the Norwegian mountains. And then he started reflecting back about his experience in nature, and then he was writing down a poem, and for the first time we had the term Friluftsliv. That means outdoor life. So we try to use this term in our education to educate young people in Norway to be the best edition of themselves. That is the overall goal. And we really believe that this is good for everything. It's good for the brain, it's good for the head, hands, heart, emotions, body. It's healthy in many ways. And step by step, I will give you some examples of this. So, next picture. What is Friluftsliv? Some sentences means free air living, feeling good in nature, to be more than to do. It's important with simply living. And of course, you need being sustainable. So it means you have to avoid pollution and engines. You have to use your body, your feet. It's about feeling home. That's why we say, I'm going into nature, because you will say, I'm going into my house. When you're saying into my house, you are familiar with that. You are relaxed in your home. That's why we say, I go into nature, because we have a relation to nature. We are from nature. We will say our culture is built on nature. It's rooted in nature. And by saying that, it's about a kind of connection. And this picture illustrates everything. It's something else than being on the other side of the valley, because that's the outdoor activity, and that's also a part of the Friluftsliv. But on the other side, somebody is bringing you up. It's a lift bringing you up. It's just downhill. It's a lot of electricity. It's a lot of noise. Here on this side, that person was using his body to move step by step. It was time to observe. It was time to smell. It was a time to feel. And now he is reflecting and enjoying the heat from the campfire. And maybe soon he will go down. I'm not sure about that. Maybe he's still staying there. Because it's about enjoy and be. As a society in Norway, we was for several years under Denmark, and then for several years under Sweden. So we have some Swedish brothers and Danish brothers here. We are friends now, but I will not forget. So Friluftsliv also means our identity, our Norwegian identity, because at some point the government and all the Norwegians was asking themselves, what is it to be a Norwegian? What is the difference being a Swedish guy or a Danish guy? And they were searching for heroes, and they found the heroes maybe in Nansen, in Amundsen, and the mountain farmer. Why is the mountain farmer our hero? Because he was independent. He was strong. He managed to solve problem himself. He was creative. So to be a Norwegian was to have these values into life, and Friluftsliv was a way to establish these values, to be a Norwegian. So that's some of the history, some of the background. So what is Friluftsliv good for? Well, as I told you, it is about being the best edition of yourself. Not compared to you, of course, because you are amazing, but I try to be the best edition of myself by handle situation in nature. I need to solve the problem. I need to encourage others. I need to be interested in others. I need to motivate others. And I have to learn from nature, and I have been related to nature. And they also belong to a society. So these are all values that's important in the society. So that's why we see Friluftsliv to educate young people in nature as a holistic way of develop the whole human. Next. So how do we educate? What kind of approach do we have? I will show you now some videos illustrating this. from the last 5 or 6 years. You was
Okay.
maybe we can. Was that the first one? Really?
We can check.
Maybe it was.
Active and
yes,
engage.
active and engage. It means we try to avoid this situation. So if you come to my studies in outdoor education, we start outside. First time we meet, we start around the campfire saying hello, and then we have a small hike in nature. So we try to, from the first moment, to live out the values of Friluftsliv that activate the students and engage them. So they are from the passive situation to be active. This is a short video illustrating students engaged and active.
Okay.
What's this? So this was from this semester. It was a mix of Friluftsliv students and food and health students. This is not my music, but why not? The next is about the responsibility. I love what Lauren was speaking about risk-taking, because we are following that 100%. We accept accidents. We accept students are doing failure. We love to see some blue marks and some blood, because this is part of life. Learning by experience, and then learning by taking risks, and they own the consequence of their actions. So if we see they are going the wrong direction, we were thinking, oh my God, and then we are just following them. After maybe 2 kilometers, they don't know where they are, so they have to find the way back themselves. That's how they learn. Instead of just following me, I want to follow them. And they need to be responsible for all their actions. So yes, this is fine. This is crossing the glacier called Foldrifonna. It's a 2 days hike. So this illustrating the education in nature by practice, by failure, by reflection, and we are giving them a lot of opportunity to stay active and engaged. If you go back here, this risk-taking is important, of course. They need to follow they need to take the consequence. And agency, this is in the winter, they need to create their own home. Sometimes it's by tenting, sometimes it's by making a snow cave, and this is by making an igloo. Let's see. This is in Norwegian, but it starts with making the snow blocks. They need to remove the loose snow on top. This is the size of the blocks. They need to cooperate. Prepare a spot. So it's a lot of communication, cooperation. And if they are doing failure, they will have no home. That has been happening. So they have to make it quite small, because if they don't make it small enough, it will be no possibility to make the roof. So they need to continuing checking the size. Should be 150, 150 centimeters. So some is working as an engineer inside, some are just making the blocks, and some are carrying. She's from Germany, Pauline. And in the end, it's about being able to finish it on top, because it's cold without the roof. Entrance has to be down, because if not, all the warm air inside will disappear. That's why you need to make a kind of tunnel inside. After 5 hours, finally it's finished, and then it's dark, and you can use a candlelight inside to enjoy, and then good night. Thank you. So it means zooming up. Students is responsible for doing the learning. It means I try to be a facilitator. I try to facilitate, so they have to do more or less as most tasks, solve the problems as much as possible. So this is just, you don't need to open that one. That's just the last article from 3 weeks ago. It was released in a journal called Uniped, and this is the result of 4 years' work, interdisciplinary teaching between food and health and Friluftsliv. That's the article. So for those who are interested, you can read it tonight, or next year, or 10, 10, 10, 10 hours, 10 weeks, 10 days, 10 years, I don't know. Next, and now we are soon finished. Next page. This is my Italian student. He was telling me after this, he said, I had never been painting before, but this is me, Åge, because the task was a solo night with just a small piece of chocolate, with just a sleeping bag, and I gave them 10 square meters to be for 20 hours with this small piece of chocolate and some water. And after the task was to paint something and to write a poem. And this is the poem he wrote, and that's the picture he painted. And he came back and he told me, this year has changed my life. Now I totally knew the way I see life, the way I'm leading my family. I teach this to my 2 daughters, and I bring them to nature as much as possible. And this is his poem. He remember, he was sitting here around the 10 square meters for 20 hours. To the right, the river flows quickly. To the left, the mountain stands still. That's how it is right here. So he was in the middle of one dynamic element that was changing all the time. And this mountain still, after thousands of years, millions of years, the mountain is here. And I'm between these two elements in nature, and he learned a lot about that. And then the last page. What is the impact to our society? Why is Friluftsliv so crucial to Norwegians? Well, we have the allemannsrett. It's the right to roam. You don't need a permission to go. It's not private land. You can come to Norway as well as a tourist. You can hike in our mountain. You can set up your tent wherever you want, as long as you are aware of nature and taking care of nature. We have more than 600 open cabins for you. You can come from all over Europe. You can use our path. You can use the cabins. You just pay for what you eat. The food is already in the cabin. You just leave some payment to cover the food. We have curriculum in kindergarten and schools. And this trafficking association is really important because they are maintaining the cabin. They are maintaining the path. And we also have these government papers that are sent out to all schools and organization, and this is a kind of guidelines how important Friluftsliv has to be for society. So the last video is for 1 minute. This is from the local school nearby, how we are using Friluftsliv into the education of children. Yes, and if you on the right to make it bigger. Yes. So we try to use different kind of terrain. Most of what you see here, it's not planned. It's not led by teachers. This is just creativity from the children, because we think they need to bore themselves, so they are coming up with this. This is not planned, it's not organized. They just do it because they start running, they start to explore. It's a lot of coordination in this, creativity. They need to create something together, coordination. Yes, that's everything. Thanks for listening. Maybe some question? Or
Yes, I think we have some minutes 5 minutes to some questions, really important questions. I think it's the moment because the other option is to travel to Norway with you, but I think you are here and will be better, cheaper. Some question?
Thank you for very nice visual examples. I'm just curious how teachers are prepared to implement the curriculum in schools, for example, for kids. Is it PE teacher or is it like general teacher? Like how it's with preparing teachers to do that?
we have in Norway now, we have a 5 years teacher education. And we have some mandatory subjects like math and language, and some subjects people are free to make their own choice. And physical education is one of these subjects. So we have a lack of teachers in physical education, but we have a lot. So it's a mandatory learning outcome after 2nd level, after 4th level, after 7th level, after 10th level, and everything on high school. So we have a lot of learning outcomes related to nature or Friluftsliv. So they need to be educated. So that's what I do at university. I teach students in teacher education about near Friluftsliv, how to be creative in the local area, using nature nearby, but also go deeper into the mountain in the wintertime or spring or along the coast, fishing. So they should be prepared as much as possible. But as you all know, to really be good in this, you need to practice on your own. So my job is give them a taste of a good taste of something, and then they have to practice to be really good leaders. Maybe that was at least a short answer. Anybody else?
Thank you for your presentation. I love it. So maybe next life I will study my degree in that way. Okay.
You're welcome. I will have 20 more students coming from all over Europe in January.
My brother.
I have room
my
for
brother
one more.
for sure will love to study with you for sure. My question is that you think it's possible to move this approach to nature in other countries, because the resources are not the same, okay? And maybe the mindset of society in other countries are not prone, to do these activities.
Yes and no. Of course, the nature is important. On the other side, I now have reports from Ireland, for example, from Dublin, from Belgium, and from Germany, from Switzerland. Students, I've been running this course now 12 years, and this is the report coming back from students that have been inspired. They move back and they start using some part of it, and they adapt it to the local area, and they send me reports. Well, this is what we have been doing, and we are developing, and I have made a program that is adapted to our region. So I think it's the mindset. So yes, it's possible.
And the development of this course, this class, you select the people, or how the students approach to this?
They are free to apply. So we have connections to many universities in Europe, and they can send up to 4 students from each universities. So then we have, for example, from Brockport, I think one is coming next semester. We have from Belgium, we have from Germany. So if it's too many, okay, then I'm sorry, we just can receive 24. But until now, more or less everybody has been welcomed.
Is there some levels, or is just this is nature survive?
No levels. We give them the training from 0. So some of them had never seen snow before, never been skiing. So we bring them directly to the mountain, and we have all the equipment regarding the ski, but they need the personal clothing, of course, and a backpack and a sleeping bag. And then they will feel they will have a direct experience with nature. If they don't have wool underwear, they will go and buy it. So we bring them to the local forest the first week, so they will feel what they need. So
Thank you.
I think maybe it's a brief question, but the last one. Okay.
Is the interest for the subject going more and more every year? And how many, you said around maybe 10 students per course, and in the end, how do you grade? Not that grade is important, but what's evaluation after?
I started with 2 students, one from Belgium and one from Switzerland. That was the 2 first ones. And then it has been growing every year. So now we are 20 coming. But it's not only in Stavanger. My colleagues here from Telemark and Oslo and Bergen and Sogndal, they all have international courses. So there are a quite huge capacity to welcome international students. We have a criteria. If they are involved in teacher education or kindergarten education, they have the first priority. If we have still room for more, we take the next on the list, and they have been related to some kind of working with youth or interest for nature, but they don't need any kind of skills. And we are not graduating the for example, A or B or C. No. Just be there, and they need to be motivated. They need to be able to communicate and work together in groups. That's the key thing, I think.
No more times. I think that the key of this is to have time to have a coffee with you or with the other speakers, because it's the best moment to stay. In this case, thank you very much. Like always.